Welcome, everyone. This is EP 12. The Sesh Continues. I'm Rick from Uncle Rick's Genetics. We have the panel who we're going to try to get them to introduce themselves this week in a row.
I'll start first. Ryan from Great Green Door.
Thank you.
Ryan from Topic Essential Nutrients.
Thank you.
Matt, Square One Genetics, aka Plant Daddy.
I like that.
Plant Daddy.
AKA Plant Daddy.
Daddy. How's everybody doing? How was everybody's 4th of July? Fireworks.
Yeah, everyone still got the fingers?
We got a comment that I don't see popping up, so I don't know if it's actually working, but John Harmon, good evening, sir.
Good evening, John.
John was on standby for this.
I'm going to just tag a bunch of people that are normally here. Yes. I think I even just tagged John himself.
So while Eric's doing that, I mean, I hope no one super cropped their digits this weekend and everybody's in good spirits and health. And
I actually saw
on one hand.
Someone posted.
Great, you know.
I saw that someone posted that there was a pyrotechnics team that had a cake fall on.
Yeah, I think Swen posted that, dude. Something big happened.
Yeah, he said that something fell on the fireworks, exploded, and blew somebody apart.
Wow. That's a bad time.
Yeah. I mean, when you...
like, not losing hands, like, the whole entire pyrotechnics show exploded on the ground. Like, pretty sure you guys did.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Not walking away from that one.
I mean, when you mix dudes and gunpowder and stuff, you know, generally not so great things happen. So.
John said he was on standby. Well, thank you for being committed, sir.
Yeah, thanks, John.
We've been on standby for a few minutes as well.
Yeah. You know, working out I had to do hair and makeup, and Eric was working on, some technical.
I was trying to get the comments here. You know, the comments are supposed to be on the screen right now, and they're not. It's not working, which is craziness because it's all set up the right way. I don't know. Either way, we all have a couple topics. Well, we all have a topic that we're gonna try to see if we can work into the hour tonight. I know that Matt has a topic about genetics. We have Ryan has the topic of how the heck did you get into this? And then we have Rod with nutrients. He has to. His topic isn't nutrients. I don't know what's going on here. So Utopic has utopic nutrients.
Utopic talking about utopic things.
And I kind of just wanted to try to tie all the topics together with, like, you know, the stupid things you overlook while doing things. You know, it's not really a specific topic, but I think there's a lot of oversights that happen in, you know, not even just like growing, like when you're planning a grow or you're planning your next grow, you know, and this is something that Matt was saying his topic is sort of about, you know, is what are you growing? Why? You know, that's a big thing. You know, we did a segment on this during the learning session where we go seed to harvest, talking about what to do. But, you know, we talked about time management planning. That's kind of what I was going to touch on along the courses of, you know, oversighting simple things and not planning your time out.
Yeah. And showing up early for your plants, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to show up necessarily on time or late. You know, you can't really get things in order and fix things. You're rushing around, you know. So I mean, I guess I'll.
You want to start?
Take the wheel here.
Take the wheel, man. Drive us around.
You know, take the plant by the tops here and
get after it.
Grab the plant by the cola.
you know, I'm gonna talk. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about
spit water, shit.
strain selection. Strain selection. So, you know, for everybody that's here in the chat, I don't know how many viewers are here. We can't see that because I'm not on a fancy computer at the moment.
We've got two, Matt. We've got
all right,
two
well,
viewers.
For the two people that are in here, you know, thank you for being here first and foremost. What are you guys growing? And like maybe give us a reason why. You know, it could be anything from I've grown it before. I really like, you know, the buds and what it does and, you know, the terpenes, and it's just a really good smoke, and I wanted to grow some more. Or it could just be like, well, I had beans and I just never tried it, so I just dropped these, thought it was a good idea. So while we're here for that, you know, I want to talk about some of our house strains, obviously. You know, stuff that I've grown out. But let's first get into, like, do people really pay attention to, you know, indoor yields of plants? You know, because like when I first started growing, I really didn't have a wealth of knowledge and information on, you know, what I'm growing and how it's going to produce. So, with that being said, you know, because I went into this thing like I'm going to grow a monster plant, I'm going to get 5 pounds, and I'm never going to eat weed ever again. You know, but you know, come to find out, you know, even a year later, you know, I remember the first strain that I grew. So, like, you know, once I had the information on how to, you know, look these genetics up, and see what the plant's about and how it does, and I was like, oh well, I wonder why I was disappointed, because like the thing only yields like 550 grams indoors, you know, which is like, you know, just over, you know, a half pound maybe, you know. So I was kind of disappointed, and that can be a little discouraging, you know. And then like I'm sure some people got a small tent and just thought, hey, I'm just gonna grow a little tiny plant, you know, see how it goes, and you end up like with an uncontrollable redhead stepchild, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you're just like fighting your plant the entire time, which, you know, could also be discouraging. You're like, wow, that was fucking crazy, dude. Like, you know, and I hope your plant does grow like that, you know, because that's a good sign. You know, it means you're doing stuff right. Um, but, you know, get into our house strains. You know, we offer a wide variety. Um, we offer autoflowers, photoperiod, you know, feminized, regular. Um, but we also kind of like have it set up to where we have a little bit of everything for every level of experience. You know, which strains that are easy to grow, require, you know, not much love and attention, you know, all the way up to, you know, things that are for serious people that devote hours and weeks and months and years to this craft. That's going to be a lot of fun and also challenging. You know, like we try to bring new things to the table that continuously challenge, because that's one of our goals. Like we want you to be the best, and you only figure that out by pushing your boundaries and trying new things and giving the right products. You know, that's, you know, people will say, what's the most important part of your grow? A lot of people will say genetics. A lot of people will say lights. A lot of people will say nutrients. In all actuality, they're all number one. They're all equally as important to one another. Those are the most crucial things in your grow. You know, if you're getting a bag seed from Billy down the street and it was some, you know, swag buds, you know, you're not going to have the greatest, you know, expectations when it's all said and done. You're going to think you did something wrong, but, you know, in all actuality, it was the poor genetics that you started with. You know, you see pictures on Facebook, Instagram, all over social media. You see like these huge, beautiful, like just aesthetic looking crown nugs of these plants, man. You're just like in awe, and you're like, that's so amazing, you know. But these are people that choose the right genetics. They have all the right pieces of the puzzle. You know, I'm not saying you can't do that with the bare minimum. You obviously can if you're a green thumb and you know what you're doing. So like some of the things that we offer, we've talked about growing autoflowers, so we'll kind of go there first. We have breeders that are specific to just us. They do not do anything for anyone else. Um, I myself grow our stuff and mess around with things. So like we'll get right into like some of the staples of our autoflower lineup, which are like Critical 47. Um, just a beautiful plant. It grows big for an auto, like ridiculously large for an auto. We'll talk about another good one, Eric. I mean, the Northern Lights Big Bud is awesome to grow as well, and I think most people will be impressed with the yield of that plant.
Really,
so like those
it really kind of depends what pheno you get with the Northern Big Bud, because there's like three. I think there's three solid phenos that usually circulate, and one of the hardest ones to grow is the one that you're talking about with the baseball mitt size buds on it, where like, if you threw it to someone with a catcher's mitt on it, they might not catch it. Like, it might just too big of a bud. We have John answered you. John answered you and said that he's growing skunk from Uncle Rick's. If he's got skunk from us, dude, that's got to be like from a year plus ago. I don't know when that's from, John, but we haven't had skunk one
regular skunk
or double skunk.
RKS?
And that's what I was gonna say. The RKS was the last that we had in stock, and then we used that. So that's gone now. But I don't know what you have laying around, but that's definitely got to be something awesome. Either of those three strains. And Peter, how are you doing? We're all doing well. 80-degree day in July. Yeah, it was 103 here.
Dang.
It was way too hot today, dude. Like, way too fucking hot. Yeah, definite swelter.
Oh, those heat waves, baby. I hope everybody's plants are doing well. I mean, it wasn't
surprisingly, every single thing I have outside is fine.
Oh,
it was just like
humid.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say, dude. You keep in mind VPD, and you're like, holy crap. Skunk won from a year and a half ago.
I'm not even running a humidifier in my tent, and it's staying at 65, and the temps are 88, so it's like perfect. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that there. But so like Eric was saying, some of our stuff, like the Big Bud has 3 different phenos. Each one is equally as good in their own regard and right. And we leave them that way. Like we could further work it, narrow it down, keep, make it a pinpoint selection. But, we run a lot of grow offs. We do a lot of grow alongs for our community. So, and it's cool to see like people drop 3 beans of a feminized seed and have 3 different plants, and it's exciting because they grow differently.
I do like having the F1s for the fact that like you do have more of a variety for growers, but the stuff that's further along, like the Funky Monkey we have, is like an F3, and that thing kind of grew the same every single time, but like sold out, dude. Like, it's gone. Like we haven't had Funky Monkey in who knows how long. And then, the Void, there's really only like 2 phenos I've seen even surface, because that strain is, really worked as well. But again,
and when Eric says gone, he doesn't mean gone forever, folks. He just means gone after.
It's not for sale. We definitely don't have it for sale. We have a very limited stock of it, but
we keep breeder stock, because in case we want to make more, maybe we see something down the line that me and Eric are stoned, and we're like, it'd be a good idea. If we cross the Mac 1 with the Mac 1, and then crossed it with the Durban Poison, and that's the new strain that we just got.
Right, we were really, really stoned. We were like, "What do we cross, dude? We need to
Durban.
cross. We need to do an internal
Stone, I'm gonna my
upgrade."
weed.
So
Definitely
like,
do
we're
that, bro.
constantly doing stuff in the background, but
The
what are some of the
The Mac
strains?
Daddy Durban cross is beautiful, by the way. That was a Durban father and a Mac mother, and they were really, 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 really fat buds, super triked out, and actually is available for all our subscribers for free testing. I mean, it's testing's free, but we're not allowing this strain to get outside the subscribers. We really want to try to keep this for our subscription base. John said he's got one seed of the Funky Monkey left. Dude,
I have
that's
few,
very valuable right now, sir.
I have a few Funky Monkeys. I do have a few.
Funky Monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So,
Funky Monkey is
let's talk.
Gorilla's Z Skittles and Cookies and Cream Cross.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Good. And Z Kittles is one of the parents of our rosé as well. So
it's a great strain. It's a good donor strain.
So, and we like to do that, folks. We like to get like a really good, producing mother that's like, all around excellent, and we like to, see how it does with, some different, spouses and what kind of.
We also like making lineups, and that's what this is like. I don't know if anybody knows, but we have our Singularity, and that's actually going to be going into a multi-pack with the Mac Daddy Durban in the future, because these are going to be under our Mac lineage crosses. So we're going to have a few more Mac crosses. So we have the purple Packy lineup. This is going to be the Mac lineup, which is going to be the Mac Rosé, Mac Durban, and like I said, we're going to work on a few more crosses to finish that series out, but I'm a little OCD with that, so.
Kind of like volumes. And here's
the
another
volume,
thing,
yes, volumes.
So, yeah, and we do volumes too, by the way. But anyway.
Jay, how you doing, sir?
Let's also get into like how much should you be spending on genetics? Now that you, maybe narrowed it down to something that you wanted to, grow, and now you need to look for it, and you get on your Google and looking at all these seed banks or asking your friends in Facebook groups.
It's a good question, though. What should you spend?
Yeah, I mean, now I've done everything from seeds that were free up to, seeds that cost $100 a beat. Literally, like if anyone knows, Copycat, Compound, and the big boys, so to speak. Their stuff. It's not for the nonchalant grower because they can't invest in it. When you click on a button and you see a strain that's, $2,500 for 10 feminized seeds, you're like, oh shit, maybe not this time. All the way down to, like I said, things that are free. Here, buddy, try this, try that. So
some of the freebies are bangers, dude.
Yeah, I'm not knocking it, but in an all around, like, to help yourself, to almost, guarantee things, you should definitely get your stuff from a reputable source. I'm not saying go to a seed bank. I'm not saying don't go to, Joe on Facebook and I grow, weed group. Just do your due diligence. That's another good thing that we do is we're able to kind of do stuff for ourselves. So we're able to reduce the cost of things. We don't have giant facilities. We don't have, social media people all day, every day, plugging our stuff all over, like we don't employ, many folks. We just have people that we work with in tandem, and they're all part of the machine. So because we work very close in proximity with one another and we don't have overhead, we're able to give you really good quality genetics. if we were like the other guys, you'd be probably paying somewhere in a crazy like 25, $30 a bean. You know, that's the quality of our stuff. But we're able to give it to you for, $5 a bean, $10 a bean. Um, so it's really good, and I hope some of you folks actually just take the chance, the opportunity, and even get one of our 3 packs and just test out what we have to offer. And I think you're going to find out that it's really good quality stuff. I've grown it. We've had many people grow these strains, and we've seen the results. We're not a tiny little group. We have, what are we at now, Eric? Like, we're at 15K yet?
Yeah, we've passed 15,000 followers.
Yeah, like I said, and that's how fast we're growing. That, like, I feel like he just made a post the other day, like maybe 2 weeks ago. It was like 10K followers. I mean,
the beginning of this year, Matt, we were at 7,000 followers in January. No, February. We were at 7,000 followers. So, I mean, we've definitely done our due diligence with the community, and we're trying to be out here for everybody. But yeah. to answer your question on what you should spend on seeds, really, like we were talking about the nutrient side of cost per plant, and I think, Rod, what did we come out to? It was like it should cost you like $100 for a plant total, soil, nutrients, genetics, light, like all that jazz, something like that. And that's like, you're talking like,
yeah, if you're
that's
buying retail,
everything the plant needs. No, I'm saying you're getting a good base that you could afford an organic base. Let's say you could afford natural nutrients and decently priced genetics. So let's say we buy a 5-pack for $100, right?
Right.
This is $20 a plant, so you're at $20. If you get decent nutrients, you're at $20 to $40 a plant for the whole grow cycle, right? So that's $60 without getting any medium. So I think like, $100 is like a good cap to set for each plant if you're going to buy the best. I see, like I said, some people will spend next to nothing. They'll go get soil that they compost for free. They'll put perlite in it for $6 for a pound or two or whatever, perlite is. I don't use it. I use pumice, but I know it's cheap. So, like, you could definitely get away with like $10 or $15 a plant, but output's input. But like, where do you draw the line? We got Jay Outdoors and said, I'm looking for one more kind. Thank you to Uncle Rick. Got the rosé. Love trying to new genetics, but paying $100 for seed. Imagine the rest. Yeah, no, I don't think people should pay $100 a seed unless they're getting something that's been specifically worked. Like, me and Matt ran the Runts Remix. Actually, I didn't run Runts Remix. I only ran the Rainbow Sherb 11.
Remix.
Right, so we got packs from Copycat, and 5-pack was like $480.
No, that was the Runs Remix was $480. The Rainbow Sherb was like $695, $700.
Right. But like, you're paying for a specific thing. Now, I had a buddy of mine grow that out and did a shit job, like horrible fucking. Just the plant was. I don't even attribute it to him. The plant was so finicky that like if it went over a certain temperature, the thing just died basically, and like then it would come back the next day. So this thing just had a really bad growth pattern, and the bud was still fire. That was the craziest part.
I mean,
and I was like, you get what you pay for, bro. So this thing hobbled across the line, but it fucking made it, dude. Like it made it with some
and
glory.
That's where stress makes the best comes into play. But that's more
with good genetics. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. They have to be able to be stable and
right. You got to be able to handle
that you're tossing at them. Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing: I've grown these, and they came out wonderful. Like these expensive seeds, they came out wonderful. But I can't justify the price when I have something that is in our inventory, that a regular person can get for $60 for a 5-pack.
Right.
and get the same quality results. You know?
Yeah, but that's
So
where
it's
craft gets into it, dude. I mean, like, there's beers that you could spend $40 on a single beer. You know what I mean? And it's just because it's a craft thing. Jay Outdoorsman said, and I know you can relate to this one, Matt. He said, at Canopy, we always had hard times with Blue Dream. Is that because they get massive, or you had issues with environment? Because Matt, do you want to share your experience with with Blue Dream? Because you've grown it was the 9-pound blue hammer that you grew.
Yeah,
9 pounds.
9-pound blue hammer. No, it was a 9-pound hammer crossed with Blue Dream, and I believe it was 6'7" in like a 5-foot tent.
It was like a missile, dude. It literally looked like a nuclear warhead, bro. Like the whole plant was just like, it looked like an arborvitae. Like if you ever seen an arborvitae in somebody's front lawn,
palm tree.
but like the whole way up were like these fist-sized buds, and at the top the thing was like my fucking arm.
Just a bat.
Yeah, it was like
700 plants, Jay. Holy shit, man! You're dealing with mold.
Like it would have been the Ron Jeremy of plant porn. You know what I mean? So like,
the thing was huge, dude.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Matt was like, I've literally done everything I can to keep this plant small, and super cropped it like 82 times. And he's like, and now I have 50 fucking buds on it.
I bet
reaching for the sky.
I mean, I probably have pictures somewhere deep in my archives. Dude, it literally the size of my arm. I bent the plant down, and it just like did a fucking Popeye, dude. So it looked like an elephant. The rest of the plant was like, flat. And then there's just this giant fucking elephant trunk coming out of one side of the plant, And I was like, what is going on? Like, it wouldn't stop growing. Like, it was, and that's why I said, like, I was not prepared, like, I'm calling Eric. I'm like, dude, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't have any more height. And like, I ended up having to take it out of my tent. And I had this, don't judge me, folks. I had this like PVC thing that I fashioned. I probably have like $8,000 worth of PVC and fittings, and Eric busts my chops every time he comes over. He's like, yo, look at all that PVC. He's like, you know how much 10-foot pole PVC is? So
I told him you should sell it. Man. It was the height.
I made a makeshift like tent station. And because it was the only thing that I had. It was either like mount the light on my ceiling, or use this thing that I at least have a little bit of. And I finished my plant like outside in the middle of the fucking floor, totally exposed with like what looks like a homeless shanty surrounding it, and yeah, the thing was
finished it all right.
Yeah, and here's the fucked up part about it actually, because like the plant grew fucking phenomenal, but I fucked up during the harvesting part because, this is back when I was, kind of new in the game too.
No, you had no time, dude. You had no time management for this. You just were like, you're super busy, and you're just like, yeah, dude. I was like, what happened with your plant?
I chopped it maybe. And, here's the thing, too. Like, a lot of people don't understand. You really have to pay attention to the strains that you're selecting and pay attention to flower times. Because the mistake that I made is I probably chopped it probably a week to 14 days too early. It still came out great. It smoked fine. It was, but it kind of had like a Play-Doh-y smell to it because, it wasn't fully developed yet. And
yeah. Didn't make enough.
I was kind of disappointed, right? So I would have had a lot of good bud too. That plant had some.
Yeah,
I'm talking like that main coal was like 2.5 ounces dry.
Yeah, dude, it was like an oversized Nerf football. Like it just had this like crazy like boom. Yeah, dude. That plant was nuts. That was nuts, dude.
I have the pictures. I think they're saved in my Google Cloud. I gotta go in there and look
And
because I moved a lot of
and
shit
Matt's
off
just
my
like
phone.
Matt's like I've literally done nothing for this fucking plant at all. He's like I don't even want to give it food. He's like I don't want to do
Because I
shit.
forget, like, Blue Dream is more sativa leading strain, so it's gonna have a longer flowering time, and they
And
grow, they
big
stretch,
structure.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right, so
Yeah, when
like
people
I
say
wasn't.
up to 3 times the size of a plant, they're talking about a sativa.
Mm-hmm.
An indica is not going to get 3 times the size in stretch. They're going to get as big as they want to in veg, and then have moderate stretch. But I doubt they'll get twice the size of the plant
Even the
that's
Durban
supposed to.
poison that I grew, that was like 100% land race, fucking,
Durban, another one,
sativa.
monster.
Um, you know, this thing, I topped it twice. I super cropped. I tied it all down, and when I shit you not, like when I flipped that plant, I just saw bud sites like stacking and stacking, and then it kept stretching and stretching and stacking and stacking, and like it looked like an outdoor plant almost, like how it gets so dense at the tops. So it looked like I had a fucking octopus, dude. Like
Yeah,
that's how like
dead
beefy
ass, dude. It was like
these
this.
these
This plant
coils.
was just
They
like,
were fucking dead even, bro. Dead
but they were
even. It
five
looked
feet
like
wide. Like
just looked like this,
it wasn't close to each other, dude. They were like it was like if 8 different plants were like zip tied at the stalk, and then they like grew out. Like it was so that plant was massive. That was another one. It was like 6 foot tall in
Yeah.
a 5 foot
And
space.
I'll tell you what too, like do not sleep on that Packy line, because I thought I can grow 4 strains, 1 plant each, that's all feminized, and put them in a 4x4 and just veg them for like 4 or 5 weeks, flip them, just to like we just finished it, so like now it's like let me just grow these because I want to get a baseline for what the customer is going to get. And you check my Instagram out, dude. It's bad. And I mean good bad. Like these plants smash that 4x4. I had them in 3-gallon pots, and they smashed it
And then
within like
didn't you
3
take one
weeks.
out and put it in the other tent by itself, and it filled
I
that one?
I did. That one filled. Yeah, that was the. Oh, what the fuck was that?
Secret, the purple Kush cake. Purple
No.
Kush cake you had to move, I thought, because it got too fucking big. Put in a 4x4.
Well, the purple Kush cake was the biggest one. That was the secret purple. Secret purple landed up in the 3x3 by itself,
Yeah,
and I
I had
filled
a
that
big ass one of
motherfucker
those too.
wall to wall. That thing was a monstrosity all by itself.
They
But
veg,
these
dude.
plants, they grew, like I put them in the autopots, and then like within like 7 days I turned the autopots on. 2 weeks after that, they were 2 feet tall, and that whole fucking scrog net was full. Like I had to start bending them, and like I didn't even get to really top them. I topped each plant once before I transplanted it, and they just started like once they were under that scrog, they took right off, like no brakes, all gas. Um, and I could not, dude. I broke them, cut them, did everything, and they just said, "Give me more," and like they grew massive, massive,
John says
super quick.
he's got the IBL outside, and it's actually staying pretty compact. I mean, it is an indica strain, um, but during flower, that thing will literally veg still and stack. Because the IBL gets very, very heavy. I tried
I
2
mean,
indica,
is
2 hybrid. That was supposed to be
John's the one that
become.
like John, you
It's
just
just
like
so bad.
lollipop your plant. I think I just saw a picture. You have a red truck, um, of your plant outside, and it looks like you're. I don't know when you planted that, but that thing doesn't. It's still young, and that thing is like what, 4 feet.
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like a tree that you buy for the corner of your house.
Yeah.
Like a house plant.
That's actually Justin. That's Justin's plant. It's in like a 20-gallon outside. Yeah, and it's stripped from like. Yeah, dude, he did like
that's the
top.
That's the Packy.
Yeah,
that's
I
the
know.
Packy, right? The
yeah,
IBL.
no.
Yeah.
John, I think John said he has the. John's got the black potted one. He just posted, I think, with a 1 gallon next to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, Matt, but that's the one he's talking about.
Oh no, I didn't see that one yet.
Yeah,
but
man.
I mean, they will grow.
Hey, man, you know,
and
one
you're
thing.
Still kind of early. You got time if you're outside. You know, you got plenty of time. That thing's not going to start doing its thing till like mid to late August. You know,
well, he's in Colorado, I'm pretty sure. So he's gonna have a little shorter of a season.
Yeah.
But you know, one thing about the Packy lineup is some of them are extremely heavy feeders and some are not. You know, so definitely keep in mind and keep your eye on you know, your plant as you go through, because like I said, the Purple God, we ran that thing could not be fed enough. Like it didn't matter. But then the Secret Purple, the G13 cross, that one doesn't like a lot of food, but it likes a lot of water. So like, you know, you're gonna have to really let that thing drink.
That plant got big too.
Right, but it doesn't like a high ppm. You know, it's like it's pretty efficient. Plant's pretty efficient. It will do what it needs to without a ton of nutrients.
You know,
Brian,
so to kind of like wrap my section.
So go ahead.
Sorry, I don't want to try to take any more time.
So like, yeah, just like
Derek said, know your plant. You know, educate yourself. If you have like something that you grabbed from a dispensary or from a friend, and he's like, "Oh, this is, you know, gelato," you know what you're looking for, and do a little bit of research, you know, on how the plant performs, what it needs, how it's going to yield, you know, just all that stuff, just so you're prepared and you're able to grow that plant seed to harvest with, you know, at least a time frame and schedule. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Matt. That was an awesome topic.
Because,
love the job, Matt. Love the job.
A long time ago.
Yeah, we went over time on that one, but it's a solid topic.
Sorry.
It's a solid topic because it's important.
Check my Instagram out. If you don't have it, message me. I'll give it to you, because I post a lot of our strains on my Instagram, so you can kind of see how some of them grow, or check the Facebook groups.
It's gonna make.
So I have a question. You got Blue Dream seeds? Do you have good Blue Dream?
I don't know if I have any left. I know that
I don't have Blue Dreams.
Once we went through the
strain, man, it's so hard to get real Blue Dream.
Once we went through the craze on a few strains, people were buying that strain, the 9-pound Blue Hammer. That's gone too. I had a lot of those seeds. We did a grow off with it.
I would definitely have to look.
I mean, I love that strain so much. I researched it, and I guess apparently it's kind of a secret where it came from, like Encino, California, or whatever, and you can't get the original anymore. It's all like
I don't have the original. I have an auto
down from the original.
I got Blue Dream Auto, but it's not definitely not the original.
Yeah, still love that strain. For favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
classic.
Oh, I do have 9-pound Blue Hammer. I do have some of that left.
I probably have some Blue Dream in my vault of stuff. I have a lot of strains. But
I've got three. I've got 3 9-pound Blue Hammers left, dude.
And I can go to any dispensary and get a 2-gram cart and smoke on that. It's not like growing it with the Nucci love.
More people, I think it's more people that are pushing, you know, false things, you know, because there's people historically preserve more genetics than most people would want to think. So there's still Blue Dream
Yeah,
available
Rod, I
out
could
there.
get you Blue Dream, bro.
You know,
no worries. I'll find it
but
for
it's
you.
it's like the craze. Like if something's hot, like when runts first hit the scene. People were just giving whatever strain and just calling it runts. And,
Calling it runts, yeah.
that's why I say get your stuff from a reputable source. That way you know exactly what you're getting.
And a breeder might have to find it for you, and that's actually probably preferred if you do have someone that can help you out.
That's our world, that's where we live there.
Ryan, you want to touch on your topic, sir?
Yeah, so me and a buddy were talking the other day, just talking about, what got us growing, what prompted you to start cultivating cannabis. And I know we've talked, a few times before, but I don't think I've ever asked you guys, what got you going in it.
Well, you don't want to know.
Oh, I do want to know.
All right, so let's go back in time.
Here we go.
Little time machine. So I actually went to a festival, and I'd never been to one. This is my first one, and like where I'm from, it just recently became medicinally legal, so it was like a big thing. That tells you kind of how far along the story goes. But just walking around, I got some edibles, bought some weed, just doing the whole festival thing, eating food, getting stoned, talking to people. And I just happened to come across a booth that had plants. And I just never really seen one that up front and close at that stage, So I was interested. I was like, oh, look at these things. I have house plants, stuff like that. Long story short, they got me for $40, and I went home with a plant in a little container and had no fucking idea how to grow it. So I was like, do I just treat this like a house plant? So I just put it in a pot, put it in a room where it had light, and then I went on Google and I was like, oh shit, I need to buy stuff. Like I need to, within 4 hours, I had an Amazon cart. So this $40 plant that I thought was overpriced, actually, I'm like, holy shit, this is like having an animal, like finding a dog on the street and taking it in. And you're like, oh, I got to buy a crate, food bowl. I got to get a vet. I got a shot. I got a collar, a leash, poop bags, like toys, pee pads. It's like the list goes on and on and on. So I'm like, okay, I need a tent, obviously, I guess. I need a light, some kind of fucking purple light because I didn't know, and, so I spent like 400 and some fucking dollars, 3 days later, I get packages coming and fucking setting up my shit, and I'm just learning more and more because I'm joining Facebook groups. Like, it was like a mad dash for me at the beginning, and I was excited, like
Amazon
after the
frenzy.
initial shock and awe. I'm like, all right, now that I got the stuff, like, I'm gonna start growing. Like, people are gonna be hitting me up for bud. Like, I'm gonna be that guy in the town that's, doing good stuff. I couldn't have been more wrong. I couldn't have been, and I'm gonna be 100% honest. Like, I've messed up so many times, and like, this is one of the reasons why, like, we started this whole, GGD, Uncle Rick's, Utopic, that whole band, because again, man, like I spent so much unnecessary money, and I almost stopped growing because like I thought I invested all this money for just everything to go wrong and not have an end result, because I killed the first couple plants that I got, and I have house plants all over the place. I'm a great houseplant caretaker. I grow nice houseplants, but I guess I wasn't that great at marijuana because I didn't know. I didn't know how to fed, water. So that's why, like,
that's
one
the
of the
thing,
first
man.
things
It's not a
we
plant.
talked about,
it's a weed.
Educate yourself. We're here to shorten the load on that. But yeah, that's how I just fucking bought a plant at a festival and went fucking full throttle. You know, I took the fucking panels and, you know, I'm weight stage 3 now and I'm just nitrous, you know, whatever you want to put on, you know, and I just went full throttle. And, you know, I'm glad I made the mistakes that I did because it forced me to learn and it forced me to meet great people and like-minded people. And now we're trying to make it easier. So, like, that's my little story on how I got from the very beginning to kind of like where I am now.
And you only learn from mistakes, man. You don't learn from not failing.
Absolutely.
Rod, how did you get into it, dude?
Pain equals growth.
Yeah. Well, so I was working at a liquor store, and the owner and his family always were talking, you know, low tone about the grows. And I just told him one time, I said, hey, if you ever need anybody to help you at the grows, you know, let me know. And so I get a call from the brother of the owner of the store. He's like, you still want to do this? I go, yeah, I'll do it. You know, so he makes me a manager of a 300 plant operation. I never grew a single plant. You know, learn by design, I guess, in this dilapidated, environmentally as screwed up as you could possibly get. Electric troubles, AC's going out, pumps for the auto feeders, light bulbs just blowing up, and surges because the electric's so this old dilapidated flint building, and like I learned every single thing in a year of what never to do.
That's a good way to learn, Rob.
The best growers, if they say that a pretty good intermediate grower is a guy who has done it all, saw it all wrong, I can say I got to be at least an intermediate because of that. Like you said, you learn from the mistakes. You know, so I walked into this disaster and held up for a year. But in that same time, I invested $30,000 into a grow here at the house. The hydroponic store was very, very helpful in spending all that money.
30,000.
And I made an industrial level, like I was a miniature one that I worked at. It was a miniature of that, but all done correctly. Like every single light had its own fuse, you know, at the breaker, you know, kind of thing. Like my shot back had its own. Went straight to that plug, you know, straight to
dedicated,
that.
Right?
Like, it was very dedicated. My fans were like, if these fans go out from something, these fans will stay on, and I just did it. So, and the reason I did it at home is because two reasons, and I don't know, and they're both equally valid. I wanted to grow strains from my wife. You know, she's got a lot of medical issues, and I wanted to learn about the different indicas and sativas and how it could help her medical issues, you know. And, you know, people smoke weed for the side effects. No pharmaceuticals are like that. You know, so things fell apart at the grow I was working at. So I dedicated myself to my grow at home, and then found Utopic, and there it went from there. So it was, and the money, you know, to receive donations to help the light bill.
That's cool.
You know, kind of thing. So the money had helped my wife. That's pretty much what got me into starting to grow. And that was 5 years ago. Maybe 6 now. It's been a while. But that's how I got into growing. And I fell in love with the plants, by the way. Like sitting in my bedroom at night, like before the lights go out, and just hanging out in there with them. It was very therapeutic for me. And I could grow good herbs for my old lady.
So, yeah. I just want to touch on something that you said. You know, like you said, within a year, you kind of knew everything not to do. And I like that you said that, because that's a good thing to keep in mind when you're growing for yourself. You know, a lot of people focus on what do I do, or what, you know, what to do, you know. But like, if you really like look at, sometimes it's easier to tackle it from what not to do. You know, like when you're looking at a plant, you're growing a plant, like, okay, what should I not do? That way you kind of check yourself. It's like checks and balances. Like, okay, I just watered, a day ago. I'm not going to give it more water. That's not what to do. It just had a drink. Like,
Overreacting to
right.
deficiencies or
So,
troubles, overreacting to things, and
Mm-hmm.
so I like that you said that, and I just wanted to make a quick point. Sometimes that's a good
that's
way to
right.
look at a situation. What am I not going to do here? And it kind of just it helps. So
Yeah, and
that's it.
not to say that I didn't make mistakes here. You know, growers, it's an evolution to become one with the plant and to really know them takes time and failures and successes, and
100%.
that's what makes you a really good grower is those things, having the patience to learn and fuck things up a little bit.
Well, yeah, and the best grower on the planet, I guarantee he makes a lot of mistakes
Mm-hmm.
because that person is constantly pushing boundaries. So they're doing new things to these plants.
Yeah,
And I mean, they're purposefully, if it messes up the plant, like it's all in the name of science to them. They're trying to create and do something amazing. Um, so I mean, mistakes are always going to be there, especially if you don't become complacent and you just settle for a mediocre average grow. Like don't be afraid to push your boundaries and step up with the big boys. Just try it. I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
what's the worst case scenario? You lose $100 and it takes you 2-3 months to do it.
yeah.
You spend more money on you know buying in-game app ads and shit. So
I've
try
I've
it
never
out.
yeah, I've never seen a plant uh, uh, be able to withstand so, so much stuff. Like
Right.
I see people nearly desecrate a plant and then bring it back. It's like it's and the plant is so resilient
Right.
because it's a weed. I guess makes it so resilient.
And I
Like you
mean,
can really mess it.
yeah,
I think
and
people
that's the reason
underestimate
why.
plants and their ability to live.
100%. I was going
Because
right into
Don't
that, Eric.
don't
you
I
could
was
don't
have a
going
fear
plant,
right
failure.
into that.
you could have
Exactly.
plants that you cut them all the way down to just a stem sticking out of the ground, and you just feed them and give them life, and they come right back. I've seen it all throughout my life. I remember when I was a kid, my grandfather pruned my father's gardenia tree, and my dad literally wanted to murder him. I never heard a bigger argument in my family than this. And this fucking thing, like the following year, like quadrupled in size, and my dad still was like, he should have never touched it. Look at it. And I'm like, it's better. He's like, fucking, I hate it. I'm just like, dude, just because he touched it, you know what I mean? But it was beautiful because, like, the plant, my grandfather, he had the old school method, which was cut everything the fuck off of it and just leave it alone, and it'll establish itself, and it did. And it went crazy, and my dad was
Stronger.
so
Comes
mad
back
when he
stronger.
did it.
Yeah.
Ryan, how'd you get into growing,
I
sir?
hate it. I hate it.
How did I get into growing? Well, growing up, I was always more of a smoking kid rather than like drinking and stuff like that and all that crazy nonsense partying. But I took a job when I got older that I couldn't smoke, so I got away from the smoking for a while. Then after I got a new job, I'm like, all right, I want to get back into smoking. I've always been a smoker, so times change. Dispensaries are around. I was going to dispensaries. I'm like, I feel like I'm getting ripped off with this weed. Tastes like shit. It all tastes the same high. I'm like, I'm gonna grow my own stuff. So I kind of did the opposite of you, Matt. I researched for like 9 months on how to grow cannabis before I even like bought a seed. And I remember I was so sketched out buying seeds. I wasn't like used to the game and like how it went. So like I had my girlfriend order seeds for me and shit because I didn't want it going to my house. And I thought, yeah, sure, let's do Jack Herer autoflowers because for some reason
Jack Herr.
I was scared shitless of photos. I don't know why. Flipping the lights just freaked me the fuck out, man. so I got an arrow garden for Christmas one year. I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna grow 2 plants in that. I'm all set. Come to find out, I was very wrong. And if you guys don't know what an arrow garden is, it's basically like a 1 gallon DWC with like a drip system and a light built in, like a little 40-watt light.
It's for herbs.
Well, yeah, basically. Well, after a month and the two freaking cannabis plants were basically pushing the light up on their own, I was like, okay, I need to upgrade. And so I went down to the local hydroponics shop, got 2 5-gallon DWC systems, got a 4x4, got a grower's choice light, a 6-inch fan, and just went after it. And my first grow was actually not too bad. It was a little larfy, but of course I was like, oh, that's just the way it is. But now looking back, I'm like, no, that light sucked is what it was. But yeah, that's pretty much what got me into growing, was just paying those dispensary prices and just, I don't know, having just only select choices. I mean, grow whatever you want.
What I found interesting about your story was you said you did 9 months of research before you started. And
you still put it in an Arrow Garden.
and that's it. Well, I thought it was all set. I'm like, oh, I'll just keep it small. I can keep it small. You can train it small. Yeah, no. On that real quick, you can.
I'm excited to have you at this next event as well, because, that's also one of the things. That's one of my selling points. Like when people come up to me and they talk about, like, well, I've been thinking about it. I ask them, I'm like, well, where do you get your weed? The dispensary. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, exactly. So, in the state that I'm from, it's like, well, what are you paying for that? Mm-hmm. 200 an ounce, that's for like some high grade, you might get it for 150 an ounce, average price is 175, let's call it. Okay,
not
so
here.
How much do you smoke?
240 is average
how much
here.
Right. Well, it averages, but, how much do you smoke in a month? Let's just
4
say.
ounces.
Oh, well, I'm at about an ounce a week. 4 ounces. Okay.
Total for
So do the math. 175 times 4. You're spending over $600.
Mm-hmm.
Max Bland's in here. He says, "What's up, guys?"
Max, what up, buddy?
Max.
When we crunched the numbers, did the math, and you can grow a plant anywhere between $50 and $100.
And you can't put a price on the satisfaction for me,
Well, I'm just saying, when you break it down to someone like that,
True.
And I say, hey, you're going to get half a pound off this plant. If you're really good at it, you're going to get, 3/4 of a pound, and then run the numbers, because you're going to end up having an excess amount of stuff to smoke. You're not going to have to limit yourself. You're always going to have more to do, and you're going to, if you grow perpetually, you can keep everything moving, and you'll never run out of weed, and you'll never spend another dollar on it. And the cost gets less and less and less as you grow in this craft, and you understand what to do, what not to do, how you can recycle certain things, get the most out of your dollar. So, that cost, it goes down. And like when you break that down to people, it really makes them look at like, holy shit.
Right.
So if I'm spending, let's just say they're a little bit heavier smoker. If I'm spending $1,000 a month on bud, because they're not just buying bud, they're buying fucking disposable fucking vape pens, dabs. They're getting all the fucking doodads and the whistle, but so let's say you spend $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. That's a friggin' new used car. That's
a new used car.
I'm dead
Fuck it. I love you, bro. It's the best answer ever. That's a new used car.
That's a fucking Bahama vacation for you and your girl, and being able to like live like a fucking king for a week. That's what you're throwing into these people's pockets, guys. This plant grew by itself. It wasn't meant to be commercialized, and even though but that's the nature of the world that we're in. So, we're here as an entity to reduce the impact on you mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. Like that's what we're here for. And, like when you break it down to people at live events that we interact with, that we're face to face with, I guarantee you, like, if they're serious, they're walking away with something just based on that fact alone, that holy fuck, I'm spending my kid's college tuition on bud every fucking 5 years. That's insane. you know.
Right, but
And you
like
can grow
that
what
goes
you
with
want. You have
that
more
goes with a lot of
control over
things.
it.
Goes with a lot of stuff, bro. Like, yeah, once you make the jump to growing your own, that's where you get into the technicalities of it, like having something like utopic, having a good light, because then on top of now you spend instead of spending, you know, you want to reduce that number from 12,000 a year, let's say, but you have to then hit those marks, or you will be doing both. Then you'll be growing and spending money on bud, because if you screw it up and you spent, let's say you spent $1,500 or $2,000 on a full 4x4 to do everything automated, all that. Now you spent 2 months of bud instead of 12, right? But if you don't produce now, you don't have the bud. So, that's the big thing. So 9 months of research, right? Brian, you said 9 months of research.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to buy
Roughly.
if you were to buy a full kit from us, you would get a year of support, right? So in that time frame, you could have learned with the equipment what to do in the same time frame, and probably in the same price margin. And that's really what we're trying to bring to the table here is competitive pricing for the right products, having nutrients that actually do what they're supposed to do, and kind of give you, as many years of experience as all the research that we've done in these fields put together gives you, to have an edge instead of you spending 2 years to figure out how to get a good harvest. We collapse that time for you by just giving you the right products, really. That's kind of most of it.
Yeah.
So what about you there, little fella? How'd you get in growing?
Eric, I think he's talking to you.
Undisclosed story. That's
Undisclosed?
redacted. It's
He was
redacted.
born with a plant in his hand.
Well, just for some backstory, I kind of grew up like in an area you would say is redneck hillbilly land. You quite regularly can see a car going down the street with a blown out tire, towing a freaking, another junk car behind it with a rope. So like
Nice.
straight up from the woods. And, my family as well always made like wine, and they made tomato sauce, and, kind of always been around people with gardens.
So you're Irish.
Gardens and producing stuff, taking the steps to, make wine from grape is crazy. Like my father eventually started making it from the actual juice that was already pressed. When I was a kid, man, he used to make us walk around the fucking press, me and my brother, and we would be both holding the thing, like walking around the fucking thing in a circle in the garage, just bolted to the floor. And my dad would be like, "Stop, go the other way." And then we'd turn around and go backwards, and it would unpress it. And then he'd throw fucking 2 more blocks of wood in there. And then we'd turn around and walk the other way, and it'd repress the grapes even further. And it'd all like be pushing out. There was fucking bees everywhere. It was insane. It was the shittiest part of it is the bees. But like, I've made wine from scratch since I was a little kid, which is kind of crazy.
That's fascinating.
That's cool.
We also did
There's a lot of science to it.
Yeah, we also did the same with the tomatoes. We took like 50 bushels of tomatoes, and the whole family would come over. And same thing with the wine. The whole family would come over, obviously, because you need a lot of people to do all that shit. But we would jar like 200 jars of tomato sauce and have it for, I don't know, a whole fucking year. So like, I'm no stranger to understanding that.
It's
you
one jar
can
of
take a
sauce
plant.
every 1.2 days.
Listen, man, don't start mathematically
That's
judging
called craft sauce.
don't start mathematically judging the sauce intake, okay? You naturally eat more when you make it yourself, right? And that's the same with
More like
smoking. You
1.4,
tell me.
but-
All
Yeah,
right, just to go back on what you said, Matt. You say you smoke an ounce a week, right? If you smoke an ounce a week before you start growing your own, that number's going to go up. You know, smoke them if
Oh,
you
yeah.
got it.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
is the
Well,
fucking
you know,
is the way of the
yeah.
road, brother.
But well, and here's another thing too. Like, you know, if you have like 2 successful grows, like, and you're in that realm of an ounce, maybe even 2 ounces a week, like, you can almost afford to fuck up, you know, a grow, you know, because you have all that excess that's gonna like, so. I have bud that I grew 2 years ago, dude. You know, like, I'm just fucking hanging on. Yeah, I know the eyes, dude. It's
You got a freezer packed and shit or whatever.
No.
I would just
Nope.
have it in jars,
Nope.
like chilling
Matt's
in a
like-
dresser drawer. Like,
Matt's like, if crypto was like a fucking coin that you just throw in your nightstand, that's where Matt's got his like fucking 2-year-old weed, like a crypto fucking vault. He just like, yeah, man, hold on, look at this one. Hey, look here,
still have
I
a
grew
nugget
this
super
one in
boost
1997. Here, try that one. I was at his
I
house,
have a nugget.
and he
I'm looking
handed
at
me a
the
nug,
Nugget
right?
Super Boost.
I'm at his house, and he hands me a nug one time. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? He's like, I don't know, try to get it in a bulk because it's old. I don't want you to fuck. Dude, I literally went to break it up, and the thing was like a fucking mummy. Yeah, it's like it touched sunlight, so it started to degrade.
It wasn't that. It wasn't that fucking bad, dude. I don't
You know, and
crap.
I'm like, what the fuck, bro? But I smoked
Sound
that
like
shit,
the
and I was
fucking
like,
Crypt Keeper
I
over
was
here.
like, what is this, dude? And it was his.
Weed crypt
I'll
keeper.
never forget, dude. He was like, "That's my Guptilla Kush." I'm like, "Bro, you grew this when I met you, like, you know." And he was like, "Yeah, man, I had a last nug." I was like, "Well, I always wanted to smoke that shit, dude. It was fucking great when it wasn't, you know, fucking freeze dried from the elements."
You just took me like, I've known you that long, dude.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. When I was a kid,
That's not good.
growing up, like 18, 19, you know, we used to be like, "Ah, dude, you've known me since I had this Volkswagen or those rims," and like, you know, it's so crazy. My life's changed to the point where I'm like, "What plant did you have when I met you?"
Yeah.
Very strange timelines that I have markers on, milestones on.
You were growing,
Ian,
the King's juice.
Ian, no, you definitely should be cleaning your. So I'm having a side conversation here because everybody was talking. So Ian's using a trim bowl tonight, which is like, you know, knowing a guard. It's like having a paid off guard while you're in jail. That's the kind of life hack to trim jail for him right now, is having the trim bowl. And I told him he should be polishing it up with some coconut oil when he's done. The reason I said that is, and if you're trimming buds or anything like that, or you handle a ton of buds without gloves on, and you have, you know, the famous hand hash going on, coconut oil is literally like a magic eraser for this shit.
Organic. It's got to be organic.
It's better than alcohol could ever be. I've literally taken my scissors and put them directly into coconut oil for like 4 milliseconds, take them out, wipe them clean, and there's no residue. So is it a must?
I've never heard that.
Right, but
Absolutely.
here's the reasoning.
Tell me.
The oil.
Tell me.
Yes, I knew it was going to come.
So oil, right,
I know
mixes with other oil, correct? Alcohol.
Yes.
Alcohol is a degreaser. It dissolves oil. So you're not really you're getting, it's the opposite. So instead of you dissolving it with an opposite, like, you know, what you're doing is you're going to absorb that into the coconut oil. So it's literally just going to become one with the coconut oil, and it's going to dilute itself into it, and then it's just going to no longer be wherever you just wiped it from. So this is actually how they make those carts. So if you see a cart that says MTC on it, that's actually coconut oil, and it's vapable because it has a really low boiling point. It actually has like a really weird taste. I don't like MTC carts, but it's super good for cleaning up. Like if you do any pressing, like I did a press night with a guy for like an hour for an hour, for like 10 hours. It was a pound of weed we pressed through, all like 20 micron bags. And I was like, dude, you don't wear gloves? And he's like, no. And I was like, this is crazy, bro. He was like Spider-Man. He could have slapped me in the face and dragged me down the hallway. Like, you know what I mean? It just would have been like, that would have been it, right? And he was just, I was like, dude, how do you do this? And he's the one that showed me. He goes, grab me that coconut oil. And he had like the gallon one. It's just so his hand fit in there. So he just shoves his hand in there, shakes it around, and he literally squeegeed it off. And then he's just like,
No kidding.
it's gone. I was like, dude, could
But
you
here's a
smoke
good
what you
thing,
just
too,
took
about
off
that.
your hand? He's like, technically, it'd be gross, but yeah.
If you use organic coconut oil, you can smoke it. You can fucking put that shit in a bowl. Like if you get it really like,
It's
don't use a
disgusting.
lot.
Good loot.
It will extract it though. It does extract it. That is
Oh, okay.
how fats. That's how fats and oils work. And coconut oil is a
Think of
fat.
all the dirt weed and the oregano that you got sold as a kid, and you know you're doing dumb shit. And,
Oh, Jesus,
you know,
dude.
the cigarettes that you smoke, and then when you really look at it in all actuality, smoking a little bit of coconut oil is not so fucking bad.
Not even close.
It's extra.
Coconut oil, cooking oil, is highly unrefined to MCT
Well,
oil.
cooking oil. That's why I said organic.
Still not processed the same. I don't recommend doing that at all.
I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying you can.
If you do have a nice clean pair of scissors, what you can do when you're trimming up, and I do this on every trim because it's actually my favorite thing to do. This is like the craft like favorite for me to do is when I'm trimming, I'll have on the ends of the scissors that fucking trichome resin fucking all like pistol hair clump of shit, right? I will literally take all the plant matter, all the little tiny bits of leaf out of there, and they're usually not that big, and I will take a knife and just slice that off of both sides, and then I keep this in a little ball.
Dude, you do the same thing I do.
And I make a little fucking trim ball. And at the end of trim jail, usually halfway through, I'm like, fuck this. And I take a fucking slab of it. And you can vape that, like, instantly, bro. You could put that into a vape. You could hit it with a nail or a straw. And that's what I usually do. I heat a straw up and I just fucking smoke that shit, dude. It puts you on the moon.
I usually, take that and I roll it around in the keef and puff it.
Yeah, man. That's what
My
I do right now.
Rolled it off his hands like this, you know.
John said that's what I do now.
Almost a golf ball size, big old hand glue, you know. And one day he comes into he worked at the grow with me, and he comes in, and he goes, "I've been smoking on that ball for 3 weeks." It was all just from his hands, you know. From
I
have a trim ball. I've never used it. It's
finger hash, dude.
Finger hash.
I've never used
Ron.
it.
Rod,
I actually find
finger
it
hash,
therapeutic. Bro. I like trimming my plants. I find it.
The wife needs me, guys. I'll be right back.
No problem. Yeah, dude. I definitely. That's like the gem. It's like 0.01% of the plant, but that shit is so nice. I love that. It's one of my favorite things about trim gel. And a lot of people just take their scissors. They take their scissors and just dunk them in alcohol.
Dunk it, I scrape it off.
I'm like, bro, what did you do? Just scrape it, and it's clean.
Yeah.
You know, and if you scraped it and then hit it with MCT, it's like you just took a new pair out. So, you know.
I scrape it right off and I put it right under the screen and keep going. At the end to see what I got.
Yeah, dude. I use a trimmer. That's a trim bin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm old school, dude. Trim into a cardboard box.
Oh, you're so hood, dude.
No, dude, cardboard box with a paper bag in it. You know, and that actually helps with a couple things because, you know, what I also do is I'll trim off all the fans. Mm-hmm. And then when I go back for like an actual close trim, I'll trim off everything that I can visibly see doesn't have any trikes. No, all the sugar leaves have no trikes. Yeah. I'll just trim them into a garbage pile. But then when I go do the actual trim, I keep that trim in like a bag, like I said. And when I'm going through anything that I think is not gonna pack a bowl in like just that bud straight into a bowl or bigger, they also go into the trim. Um, and then I keep all that, and it kind of takes like, I don't know, a day or two to dry. But and the paper bag is like a super easy way to keep.
You'd
your
be surprised how much
smoking the
resin
little
is in
buds trim.
all that. The trim. Yeah.
Oh no, dude! I have a jar on my counter right now. It's a jar like this, probably filled up to here. Like it's all like super fine trim and really small buds that come off the bottom of the plant and stuff. But if you do chop,
I don't know if he can hear me, but I muted him. He's got to unmute himself.
Yeah, Rod, you got to unmute yourself.
That was background noise, so we muted you.
Do you guys make hash with your trim?
Matt, you broke it. Like a bubble hash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you have enough trim,
Yeah,
if you're growing one plant at a time, it's definitely not.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's definitely like it. I mean, you can do whatever you want, honestly, but like
Right.
your yield is going to be low. Usually, bubble hash, you want to do like, 10 pounds or 5 pounds of trim, and it's not hard to do if you're running 4 to 6 plants, especially if you're running 12. Like you're like, oh, I can have 12 plants, and you're running 12 plants. You're going to get a lot of trim. So bubble hash is definitely something you don't want to skip because you're going to be able to get ounces of that. You could press it into rosin. You could do all sorts of shit with that. Honestly,
I ran 5-gallon freezer bags, and I got like just over 2 ounces, I think.
Yeah,
it was nice.
And that's the outside of the financial part of it too, is like the therapy you get and like all these fun things that you get to experience and do with your plants. How to make more out of what you have. And, your money can't really buy that. I love being in my garden. It's time to relax.
Yep. The self-satisfaction, man, is worth
like
it.
think about that though. Like you're going to a dispensary, right? And you're paying way too much for bud, right? So you buy the bud that's too expensive, and it doesn't get you where you want it to get you, right? So then you go back in the dispensary and you try their their fresh rosin, and that came from the garbage they would have thrown away before being able to make extracts and press stuff, right? So
super terpy.
They're going to charge you upwards of $80 a gram for something like that, and if you grew it yourself, that's something you're going to get for free that most people throw out. So you could really benefit yourself from growing your own if you're able to.
The processes aren't hard either. If you just do 9 months of research, and
that's it, dude. Just a quick 9.
The quick 9.
A whole year fucking it up.
I mean, dude, it doesn't hurt. I know people that have done, their research well beforehand, and I encourage it. But at the same token, it's where you're getting your information, and that's definitely key. It's definitely key because it could definitely collapse
9 months,
your
and
time.
I still thought I could do an aero garden.
Dude, it's crazy, and I want to just say this, and I don't want to.
I mean, you started off
sound like an ass,
dude. Trust me.
I don't want to sound like an ass, but I know a guy that literally grows in an arrow tower.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Like those freaking white center towers, and then they have 4 light posts on the outside that surrounds it.
Yeah.
He went a step further and put a light above the whole thing, and he grows fucking autos out of it.
Great, dude.
And they do all right. He gets 2 ounces of plant. I'm like, I can't really tell the guy no, because eventually he's going to figure out how to put a plant in every other pod in this thing and get 2 ounces out of it and be like, this is my stack. Takes up freaking no square footage, but he's also got to stick to little tiny autos that max out at 2 ounces. You know,
Right. Yeah.
definitely limited. But either way, oh man,
Well, I
I don't
got
know
two
how, but
things
it
I'd
hurt
love
my
to
knee.
share, guys, if you got time.
Well, fireworks are going.
Up, so
Yeah, fireworks.
Let's do it. Let's do it,
it's
man.
kind of like
This is
the
overtime
song
now.
starts when you're getting your trophy. You know?
Right? And you just tell them like, see, hold on, and they just shut it off. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
5-minute warning.
It's
Take
when
a
you see
page
the
out.
cats that you gotta hurry up, you know.
The cats.
Yeah, when you see like this one here with the cats, that's like
Oh,
wrap it up.
we'll save it for next week then.
No.
Wrap it up, B.
We'll go back. We'll go
Yeah,
back
go
to
ahead,
regular
Rod.
fireworks for now.
Go ahead, Rod.
Well, a couple of things that I just sitting here listening and hanging out with you guys and watching the comments that come through. So here's 4 guys that all did it differently, made tons of mistakes, spent way more money than get. I've wasted thousands of dollars, and but I known you guys ahead of time, you know. So whenever we're bringing something to our people, we come to it with that thought in mind. Like, we don't want anyone to waste another dime.
Right.
And I think it's a good way to come at it with a genuine heart like that. Like we want people to get their money's worth. We want to keep our promises to people. And that's what I came away with today, just listening to us. And the other thing I wanted to point on was educating yourself. Ryan did 9 months before he did his first one.
He might have learned. He might have learned a lot.
Pardon?
He might have learned a lot.
Yeah,
you
apparently I
know.
put an air garden still. What the fuck?
I mean,
Yeah,
you
and
can,
that-
that's just that's one thing. But did you have good information outside once you changed the pot size? Were you all good, or did you have to relearn everything?
No, I was okay. But I learned my mistakes from that first round. You know, it was all right. But like I
Say
said,
the
there's,
education
like,
failed you.
It didn't fail me completely, but
Okay.
I definitely learned from what I did wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
No, it's more.
I mean,
it's
it
more
all depends on
profitable.
what kind of person you are too. You know, some
True.
people learn by, educating themselves prior. Some people learn by, hey, I'm just going to do it, and I need to force myself to continue to do it. You know, that's how they find some motivation. So it's however you want to go about it, we have help for you. We could either, if you want to do the research and build a kit, or talk to us about what you should be growing with what you have. We're here for that. And if you're just buying stuff and you have questions later, we're here for that too.
And
Yeah,
that's the
but
thing
Rod,
is I read, but I ultimately learned from my mistakes. You know.
Rod
you
said.
learn from doing it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Rod said that he wants to
my
keep
other-
promises. That's really important, dude. Not many companies out here for cannabis want to do anything but sell you a product and then have you post
Then
pictures.
see you later.
Yeah, they
If
want
you
you.
can't do
that's
that,
it.
you shouldn't be doing this. That's the worst part about this whole cannabis industry, is that not everybody's coming at it from the right vibe. And we need to be better than that.
Yeah, we want a family, not customers.
Hashtag fix your
Well,
vibe.
absolutely. I get that totally, but if we're not keeping promises, we're no better than anybody else, and I don't want to be a part of that.
Right.
That's why you're here, bud.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to have any more shenanigans.
Busting the cats on that.
No,
When you buy
the
seeds,
snake oil
you buy
industry
seeds, your life-
hopefully is
you buy
going
seeds,
away.
Your life is going to be the best you could ever have.
Yeah.
I really
Educate yourself, guys. Educate.
I really
wanna
want
hear
to
from,
abolish the snake oil. That's what we got to do through education, is abolish the snake oil, because they can be here selling as much as they want, but if more people are educated, less people will be wasting their money on it, and those guys will just go away. The cat had sparklers and a crown.
Yeah.
Just
Those
flew
cats
by
are
like-
living their best lives.
I guess we're going to go on without Matt. See you, Matt.
No, you're good. One thing I want to just touch on, like before we do like wrap it up and stuff, is like getting our community involved. So if you guys have any like things in specific you want to talk about, or like if you something you'd like to see, like if you've grown our stuff, if you haven't, if you have, maybe you want to see like throw a couple crosses at us, get our minds working. Say, hey, I've grown both of these plants. I'd love to see what they can do together. And, like, let's talk about some of those things. And, let's talk about, like where we're headed in our community. So, like, we can definitely, I want to just engage the community on the next episode, and future episodes, but like, I'm just checking in with everybody. And
what's up, William Groover? How you doing?
And talk about what you guys want to talk about. So
our friends need to share it with their friends.
William Groover, we're actually wrapping. We're in our final closing comments here.
The cat.
What's going on with you, brother? You see the cat with the sparklers? Oh, that's the one, dude. That one kills me. It's just straight with the sparklers and like this scared face. Like, I hope it goes by again.
Why my hair?
We are in the Growmunity, and the Growmunity has probably 20 members in it because that's our subscription service, our subscription hub group, and that's where this is. So we're going to try to push the word in the group more to see if we can get a time that more people. It's unreal, dude. See if we get a time that more people can get on this, but yeah, man, maybe there's a better time frame that we could do for people in the chat to be able to get here. But essentially, otherwise, the podcast is live tomorrow. So if you're not here watching, definitely you're going to be able to hear this tomorrow. Tons of hearts from William Groover. Yeah, unfortunately, man.
One trivia question that they can put in the comments. Here's the trivia question about nutrient stuff.
Okay.
There are primary macronutrients. There's also secondary macronutrients. What are the three? Put it in the comments. Whoo!
What are the three primary macro?
Put it in the dirt.
Put it in the dirt.
What are the three? What is it? Secondary macronutrients?
Three secondary macronutrients.
Actually,
You always hear about NPK. Well, those are the three primaries. What are the three secondaries? People think there's only two secondaries. There's actually three secondaries. Put it in notes. Put it in notes.
I think I just gave Put It in the Dirt a new meaning by the thought that I just had. Like, we should call the chat the dirt. Because that's our foundation. So like whenever we need the chat to put it in the dirt.
You ever get bad dirt, meaning bad news?
Put it in the ground.
Put it in the chat. Put it in the dirt. We want to hear from you guys.
Hashtag put it in the ground. Thank you, William.
Put it in the ground.
We needed a hashtag put it in the ground. Yeah.
I thought it was put in the dirt.
Today we actually started another hashtag, which is hashtag growing onion.
Hashtag growing onion. That's the thing.
Hashtag growing onion.
You'll have three people on that one. Nice. Growing onion.
Yeah, we got some people already growing onions, man.
Well, that's a monster onion.
This plant daddy is he's signing
ready for plant sleep.
Yeah.
Hashtag put it in the ground. Hashtag growing onion. It's funny. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being around. Thank you for being here on the panel, gentlemen.
I love doing it.
Always.
For the hobby.
Well, we'll put it in the Growmunity to see if you guys would like to request a time change and see if we can't be here at a better time for you. And
put it to a poll. Put a poll up.
We'll put a poll up.
See how
that works out.
We did that here at the house.
We the people.
Not the same poll, Rod. It's not what he meant.
Jesus, Rod. Triggering already.
All right, everyone. We'll catch you next week for another episode.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks,
See you later,
guys.
everybody.